When I started on this journey of songwriting, I had an attitude of defiance, linguistic defiance, and I had an ambition to form an alliance between the transition of lyric and song where conventionally and grammatically they probably wouldn't belong anywhere near each other. But who's to say? Who really is to say that a certain structure wouldn't go with a certain lyric in a certain way? In a world where it seems even acknowledging emotion nowadays has gone astray, could this be the ignorance of lyrical segregation even within the music nation? So with this in mind, I decided to launch my own investigation. For quite some time now, I've been considering languages. English, Chinese, Greek, to name a few, the principles of each forming sandwiches of conversation that we speak to each other. Words placed in a certain order following certain rules. A lexicon of complexity. So then I thought, wait, why don't I test and see what the effect would be on words put to rhythm and melody if I took the principles of languages and arranged them erratically? Flip up the script sometimes, isn't that the way to be? Especially when we as songwriters have the ability to link real and fantasy. In English, where we're comfortable with our sentence structure being on solid ground, where in Chinese, for example, solid ground is the other way around. The word knee in English describing a part of your anatomy, where in Chinese the word knee spelt N-I is you. Put at the front of a question where the rest is shunted to the end of the queue. Is this not the same from a songwriter's point of view? Lyrical uhuru, Swahili word for freedom. Where did it go is a question I had to heed when writing the song for that very same reason. Where is simplicity? Two questions pentatonically forming the whole song. If you listen to the song Uhuru, where did it go gets its roots from, you'll see that there's very little going on. African children's choir song in its simplest form. It doesn't have to be busy. Why does it need to follow that norm? Sometimes to get a point to hit home, it's better to be minimal in order to let the mind roam. Where is the love for my people? Where did it go? The black key melody I wanted to echo the internal groan of the lament. I didn't want it to be content, I wanted to convey despair, but at the same time inject hope in the form of a prayer. A song you could sing with your eyes closed, waiting, hoping for an answer to the question posed in the lyrics. Not all songs need complexity or gimmicks, sometimes they can be simply intricate. Now when we think of structure, how intricate is it? Originally I intended to sing in different languages, but then I didn't need it. If I took the two sentences of that song and proceeded to twist it, what would it sound like? Where people is the love for, where go did it? On reflection, if I'd written it like that, would it have been a hit? It could have been one, but for who? For the individual, a true hit song is surely one they can connect to. And it can have the complete opposite effect to the one you had intended it to do. So why does there seem to be any such things as constraints and lyrical structure taboo? Let's take that structure and let it appear to splinter. The river Tamar in winter, I am talking. Have I got your attention? Then let us be a walking toward the children of Tamar, whose entire language is poetic. Their phonetic communication forming a link to how writers, poets and musicians think. Seeing a tangible world in symbolic mirror, that's why I had to consult them when writing Purple Ink. See, now the Tamarians exist in a world of screen, beyond the stars that you trek past in dreams. So while we're on the scene of their territory, I'll ask you, what did the river Tamar in winter mean? That's Tamarian for quiet. Used in the contextual structure of English where we would say, quiet, I am talking. The children of Tamar speak allegory, see, an idioglossia that may mean nothing to you and me, but to them it's their identity. So then I thought, hold on, would this work in a song about mental infidelity? The inner denial of a possible plenty with your outer show being so half-hearted it might as well be empty. The intense fire of passion red mixed with cold-hearted blue, entwined together, creating a purple hue of ink that vows are written in. Give the Tamarians their due. It may be hard to understand them, but when you do, it gives a whole new perspective. My investigative question was to consider the different language principles had on songwriting, but then I did not expect to find one that went well together with what I intended. Passion, her fire red, your heart its blood blue. Tamarian sentence structure featured, timber his arms wide. I am giving you an insight onto how the structure and basis of this language made this song into what it now is. An image of matrimony, two becoming one. But this is partial matrimony, one becoming two. What an oxymoron. And Mr. Bogost investigated the Tamarians once and remarked on someone else's observation implying vanity in their communication as they base everything on image, kind of like we do. But is it vanity? Is it vanity to write in a symbolically dramatic way, or am I simply trying to convey a message or a story that your brain wouldn't retain if it was told to you normally? I mentioned oxymorons earlier, and nothing says oxymoron quite like beautiful monstrosity. Monstrosity? How can something monstrous be beautiful? But beautiful monstrosity is the contents of a box ornately carved that you see being carried down the aisle of a church, that journey eventually leading to a cemetery. It conveys a story through image and allegory of how the hearts of people can be so malevolently harmful even within a scenario of grief. It describes the scene explicitly of a procession, the somber tolling of the bell echoing the recesses of your mind telling you what that event is. The triple-sided mirror with wheels of the hearse, the 8 to 12 heels of the 4 to 6 people carrying that box who would give anything for that event to be in the reverse. One of them a daughter. From a scenario I witnessed and the comments from people directed at her. Simply because she's a female pallbearer. Is that so abnormal? Is that so strange? I wanted the song to convey the type of atmosphere that would be displayed at such an event. The monstrous contents of a beautiful box. Surely that imagery could be enough to knock some people for quite a few sixes. Not to mention the words of a malcontent thrown into the mixes, but as I reflect on the process, hold on, I could have missed this. Could this song be one that fixes? One that brings healing to someone who can't express similar feelings? It could aid the grieving process that is vital for anyone still breathing. Falzano states that while he doesn't suggest music takes the place of human interaction, it can be a beneficial alternative from empty distraction, which can only delay the process anyway. So, has my use of language and imagery here contributed, and in what way? A hearse I call a triple-sided mirror with wheels. Mirrors often associated with reflection or looking good. Instead of saying carrying coffin, I call it lifting wood. A lot of understanding has been gained on this quest, and it is possible to digress in confusion. So as I come to the conclusion of my search, I have to ask, has there been any difference to the way I linguistically arrange words? In a way, yes. In writing a song, using the structure of a language not even based on planet Earth. And in a way, no. The defiance of flipping the script and not conforming to generic song flow has always been there. It just takes research and getting to know. So, as long as my pen can still expel ink, and as long as my brain can still tick over and think, I will continue to explore the positive links between linguistic, lyrical defiance.